Muted. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, so we're playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland. We're having a lovely time doing it. This is the second episode of our third arc. So before we get started properly, below the video are links to our social media. Our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching later on YouTube, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat with us and the other lovely people who are involved in the channel, and also our Patreon. So if you like what we do and want to support us, you can do that there for numerous rewards. Other things that happen on the channel are Simba Room on a Wednesday night. It's the longest running thing on the channel. And also one weekend day a month, we have a different one-shot adventure, different GMs, different players, different games, loads of fun things. The next one looks to be April the 1st. It's just this coming Saturday. And that is going to be Dungeon World, which is a sequel to the previous Dungeon World that Pierre ran. So that's going to be cool. And right, let's do recaps for last session. So let's bring on John, who plays B.
Hello.
Hey, John. You upgraded the HQ.
Yes. We decided to add a weapons corridor because some of the Vaesens that we encounter are not as friendly as the last Vaesen we encountered. So we oversaw the installation of a weapons corridor, and it all, like, the butler found I always forget his name, but he found a slightly forgotten corridor of the house that we could install it in. It was very, very dusty, and as he unlocked the door, and there was a gust of dust that sort of made the entire house smell a bit. Bee swore she saw someone maybe lying in the middle of it, but then they were gone and nothing horrible has happened. So Bee has left a small cupboard as a possible sleeping place in case they have a tenant that wants a place to sleep.
Very kind, I think. Cool. Yes, let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville.
I just realized I forgot to put Bee's art up throughout the entirety of that.
Oh, no.
And now she's gone.
Oh, we can, look at your artwork for a while. It's fine. Hello. Yes.
Hi, Steve.
Everything's going really smoothly tonight so far.
Yeah, blame me for all of it. You were following up a previous issue.
Yes. Yeah, it's a bit of a thorn in our side. So on our first adventure, we'd travelled up to Radcliffe to investigate some murders, and unbeknownst to us, a journalist named Albert Bradley, had caught wind of this. And in our second adventure, he turned up and started following us around, which cramped our style somewhat. So we made a promise at the time to go back and speak to him. He sort of promised that if we went and visited him, he'd stop bugging us. So we made that promise. We went round to the Times to speak to him. We saw his assistant, or receptionist named Ben, who will feature a little later. Some interesting doodles on his pad, on his notepad. But then we went in to speak to Albert Bradley, and basically had a bit of an awkward conversation. Didn't give any information away. He was really quite surprised that we would travel as a group of friends to a location that the group of us traveling together was suspicious or weird. To which Mosling sort of intimated that perhaps he was surprised by that because he didn't have many friends and therefore wouldn't understand traveling in a group, which I'm not sure whether Albert picked up on that, but that was quite nice. So yes, we ended up sort of making a deal of sorts that if we heard of anything particularly newsworthy that didn't breach our confidentiality agreements or anything like that, that we could perhaps feed him that information, and in so doing might help him in his race to become the next editor of the Times against a challenger, so to speak. Whether we'll follow that up or not, I'm not quite sure. I think both of us kind of agreed that it would be rather preferable to dig up some dirt on him and maybe just finish his career once and for all. We'll see. See how things go.
But yeah, you think you've at least managed to get him on the back burner for now while
Yes.
you deal with other things, I suppose, is the...
Yeah. And he does like his drink. That's one thing we did spot, so useful to know.
Let's bring on Justin, who plays Gail Mosling Forcemark.
Hello.
Hey, Justin. So either side of that conversation, you had some interactions with Ben, the receptionist.
Indeed. Yeah, we had a chat with Ben, who seemed like a perfectly affable young fellow. And in a trying to be casual, we approached Ben and asked him we kind of wanted to kind of befriend him a little bit to see if he had any if he could lead us to gain an advantageous position over Bradley. But also he had some strange notes which I checked on before we went into the office. As Ben went to go tell Bradley that we were arriving, I rifled through his paperwork to find some strange drawings of some kind of hideous creature, and we were definitely keen to ask about whether there was anything on Ben's mind. And just said, is there anyone you can talk to about, these horrible feelings that you're having, the terrifying things in your life? And he said, maybe not. But I said that, Mr. Bonneville is a reliable sort of chap for if you have, terrible things happening. He's a good person to have it when you're in a tough spot, and to come and look, you have our card because it's going to go to your boss. So don't forget where we are if you're ever, in a weird situation. If it is the case that he has seen some kind of Vaesen, and that is what is keeping him up at night and occupying his thoughts when he's doodling, then hopefully he comes and seeks us out.
Yes, lovely, thank you. While that was going on, let's bring on Inga, who plays Constance. Inga, Constance went to investigate some a person of interest regarding Gladys Pugh's Spertus problem.
Yeah, we figured, these guys were keeping the journalists busy, so they couldn't follow us. We went along to go visit Sister Griffiths, who was the other survivor, possible survivor of Spertus that we'd heard about. So we went along to go and have a chat, and she was initially not terribly receptive, but we did manage to, get a conversation in with her and kind of confirm what happened. Like, the story, she did have a Spertus, and we kind of explained there was someone else in need who needed some help. She still had the box with her Spertus, but it seemed to be dead or otherwise inactive. And her theory is essentially she's sort of sapped life out of it by kind of doing good, devoting her life to kind of good works, has kind of sapped the Spertus of its kind of evil life or whatever. And she was very she kind of had a very sort of parasitic kind of theory of it, of what the Spertus is and what it does. So if you kind of deprive it of what it is feeding off, she was quite worried about whether the person that knew Gladys was the third in line, and she was very pressing about the needing to get this addressed pretty quickly, definitely a sooner rather than later kind of situation. So we said, Gladys will be here soon, so can we bring her to you to talk to and hopefully help out. B did suggest, given you've kind of killed one off, would you take another? Would you accept another and be, I guess, potentially essentially maybe be the third in this chain? But I think we've got a bit of a non-commitment on that, as more of a we'll see how this bit goes first. But it seemed hopeful that we've got a potential, got more information. She'd also mentioned that someone had told her that the best way to deal with it was the kind of killing a dozen people. There was some sort of the society book, and so definitely a sort of a desire to upgrade the info that we've got on Aspertus to the slightly less murdersome kind of approach. So we headed back, eagerly awaiting Gladys to make sure we can hopefully get this resolved.
Great. So finally, let's bring on Sam, who plays Magnus Huxley, or Hux. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
Yes. So give us the end of the session.
Yeah, sure. So we got back, and more or less immediately after we got back, and we're just settling down and talking about how we wanted to change what was in the murder book, Gladys Pugh came in through the door. And yeah, we've been waiting for her for a little while, so it was a bit of a relief to see that she was all fine. Cue a little conversation where we told her about what we'd found out from the sister we were just talking to. And basically, she was kind of a bit taken aback and I think quite excited by the idea that she could do something about it, and effectively turned around to head immediately off again. But just as kind of she was about to go back out the door, James, I think was his name, like stumbled in looking rather frantic and scared of what was going on. So he came with Gladys back to London. He was with Lady Margaret, was it?
Lady Spence.
Lady Spence.
Esme.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Lady Spence, who were with when the previous story, he's like her manservant effectively. So yeah, he was shocked by something. He'd seen something. The implication being the monster, the creature, whatever it is, perhaps, that drove him away has been seen again. I think that's kind of the assumption we've all come to. I think he said he saw it in the Thames as well. So yeah, that's where we left off at the end of last session.
Yep. So the door is open. The rain is coming down, kind of spattering through the door behind him as he sort of has shouted this thing and is now kind of panting as he's presumably run. It's about half a mile from the river where you are, and he's probably sprinted, you reckon, looking at him.
What time of day is it?
You're getting on now. Yeah, it's quite dark outside, but that's partly the weather. I think it's probably like mid-afternoon, so
Okay.
You might have an hour and a half of light left, maybe.
I think Magnus would. I'd like turn around and look at everyone else and see what their reactions are, but I'd probably quite quickly just kind of go, "Where? Is it far?"
I pick up my rifle.
Yeah, with the same sort of intention.
River, come.
Yeah, following him out the door, grabbing nearest jacket.
Yeah.
We might say, stay here to Gladys. And yeah, Lady Spence. I don't know if they will, but yeah.
The butler, whatever his name is, will take care of you. Going out the door.
Well, Rupert and
Oh yeah, they were there.
And Eleanor were showing her around. So Rupert says, "Will you go?" And he leads you down to the river, down to one of the bridges, and he says, "Here, I was. Oh God, it's the first time I've been back near the bloody thing. I can't believe it."
Was it the same thing you saw them before?
I mean, it must be.
You said it took someone.
Yeah, from the bank down there, somebody fishing. They got taken in.
Can we get down to the bank from where we are?
Yeah, there's a bit of a way round, but yes, you can get down there.
Yeah, I'll start heading over. Not insisting James goes.
James, what are we actually looking for?
I don't know. This was I don't think it even came out the water. I think he just got pulled in from his fishing line. I think before, I think I saw something, but it was dark. It was a big, I don't know, like a big eel, something. But that was before.
Jonny,
Yeah, go on.
is there anybody else around? Like, is there? Would we presume if there was someone that who'd been pulled in, they were on their own, or is there, other people around on the banks or looking down, or?
There are a couple of people sort of running through the rain, across the bridge, and but there's nobody down there, and it doesn't seem to you like anybody around here is aware that anything has happened. He was probably down there on his own. You could confirm that with James, but it doesn't look like there's anybody going, "Where's my friend gone?" or "Oh my God, I've just seen somebody get pulled into the river," apart from James.
And no one else who seems in immediate danger either, potentially.
No, there's nobody else down. There's nobody else down there. No, so you think you're probably
I might be now, depending how long it takes to get around.
Can we say, are there signs of anything being left behind, like, I don't know, stools or anything?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for down there.
Yeah, okay. So when you get down there,
I would
definitely see.
I would just yell, Hux, don't mess about with anything. Just
okay. I'll stay a few feet back. I yell up. Presumably, it's kind of difficult to see through the rain and dark from down up there.
If we look into the water, I guess we can't see much kind of underneath, but any, like, I don't know, ripples, or you know what I mean, like anything on the surface that looks different, or like there's activity sunk in the water.
Floating shoes, I guess they've gone there.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Okay, everybody who's sort of looking at the river, make me an investigation roll. I'm going to tell you now, though, that you will need, I'm going to say 3 successes because it's belting it down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all affecting the water. Sam, Hux finds a tackle box and a wooden stool. But apart from that, there's nothing there.
Presumably, they don't look like, they've been here for weeks. They look like they're somewhere.
No. There's no. It's not like a tent set
I'm just
up
here to corroborate
anything.
James. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'll yell up then. Yeah. Looks like there was someone fishing here recently.
Can I use my camera to aid my investigation?
I am happy for you to take a picture. It's going to have no effect now,
but not the +2. Okay.
But you could use it for later investigation once you've been able to get that developed.
Can I make the roll and then save my learnings till another time?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, I rolled 1-6 at least, with the dice that flew off in a random direction.
Floor dice are the best.
Okay, that's pretty good. I rolled 4 successes. 4 successes.
Okay.
So something in this photo might be interesting later.
Cool.
I only had 2 dice to roll anyway. No chance of getting 3 successes.
I was rolling 8 dice. I got 3 successes.
Oh, okay. John?
I rolled
4
7,
though,
and I only got 2. But then one of my dice was sort of half cocked, so I re-rolled it. But then I was like, nah, that's pretty much. It's only 2 successes. It's fine.
Okay. Steve. Henry thinks that he sees a long shadow in the water kind of move under the bridge. From James's description of what he thought he saw previously, it could match up.
Is it sort of moving at a different speed to the current? Is there something odd about it? Or, I mean, could it just be like a log, for instance?
It's moving against the current.
Okay. That's generally, yeah.
Could
It's
be a
faint.
cloud.
You kind of, it's not a
Sure.
concrete. Yeah, it's pretty, but like from what he's said, you think you've just got a glimpse of whatever.
Well, I would sort of, if anyone's near me, I would kind of tap them and point at it. They probably won't be able to see anything, but
Mosling's setting his camera up. Like, leave me alone.
What do you want, Brunel? I'm taking a photo of that strange shape moving up
bridge.
the
It's under the bridge.
Presumably, yeah, I love the idea of Mosling pointing the exact other direction on the river. Yeah. Presumably,
This
it's not
bridge,
swimming,
the ironwork on this bridge is fantastic. I need to get a picture of it.
presumably it's not swimming rapidly in my direction or anything.
No, it's going. It's sort of
Away.
under the center of the bridge, moving away from you. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Well, I'll keep my eyes trained on it and see where it goes if I can.
Yeah, sure. So you kind of cross the road and see if you can see it coming out of the other side. Again, faint. There's a lot of rain hitting the water. It's quite dark anyway, but you do think that you know, now that you've kind of got the position and sort of shape and size of this thing, you do think that you see it come out of the other side and disappear off a little. And then you lose it sort of a few meters away.
Can I go on? Sorry.
If you had to guess size, you would say, again, you don't know quite how high up in the water it is, so how big the shadow is compared to, you know, sort of perspective. But you would guess maybe 0.5 meter to 1 meter wide and 5 to 6 times that long.
That's
like
a big.
like a huge saltwater crocodile size.
So what you're saying is big enough to eat a person.
That's a big eel.
It is a big eel.
Or a dolphin.
Good old Thames River dolphin.
Always looking for the good in these things, aren't you?
Now,
Evil dolphin. Yeah.
John's
I
gonna
have
give info
opinions
that I'm
on
aware of.
dolphins, Inga.
Yeah, they're not all they're cracked up to be.
Definitely not.
Is that character based, or should we have a round table?
It's
The
all
the
dolphins,
truth about dolphins.
and I have the same distrust for dolphins as I have for koalas for different reasons.
Wow.
You don't like koalas?
I hate koalas,
Yeah,
John.
koalas.
We're
I
getting
hope you know.
distracted.
Koalas are tune in next week for
But
telling tales. This
I
conversation.
can't believe that dolphins are lumped into the same category. Come back to this.
Yeah, we need a discussion on that.
I have a role play question to ask about the role play that we're playing.
Bullshit.
Jonny, can I mean, I might not be best suited for this, but without interfering, because Bonneville specified not, can I see if it looks like the person was yanked clean out the air or dragged kicking and screaming into the water?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, make me an investigation roll.
Sure.
That's a good
I mean,
shout.
I'm probably not very good for this one, but that's what I'm wondering. So, oh hey, well, I got a success.
Okay. There's certainly not a full sort of drag line through, because this is sort of dirty sand and stone here. So it would be quite clear if somebody had literally just been dragged through this 10 minutes ago. But yeah, so there's sort of, it's a kind of half drag, half yank, you would say. There's sort of like bits where it looks like they've maybe tried to dig their feet in, or they've been yanked but not hard enough to pull them completely in, and their feet have kind of caught as they've gone. So either way, it's not a straight up, but it's also not a full drag.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's not a terrifying, enormous monster with infinite strength, but it's also not a very big fish that's just pulling someone. Got it. In between the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
James, when you saw something happen before, did you get a good look at the creature? What was and how it attacked somebody?
I think I saw I'm just trying to get myself around the idea that you're not all going to think that I'm stark raving mad, but of course you've been dealing with these things, so let me just get myself in that frame of mind. I think I saw a boat get pulled under the water by this thing that kind of wrapped itself around it, pulled it down. You know, like a kraken, something. No.
What leads you to think it was, Vaesen rather than some awful fish or something? Did others not see it? Did it do anything else unusual?
Well, there was that string of people, wasn't there? And I never seen a fish wrap itself around a boat and pull it into the waters. With all due respect, Sister Constance. And then this, I mean, unless that poor lad had caught hold of a whale or something, I can't imagine how that's just happened.
This sort of feels like your sort of department, animals and thing. Anything you can think of more natural that could explain something like this? I suppose it's not your natural environment.
We don't
Per
tend
se.
to get rivers this big in the middle of a forest.
As I say, more your department than mine.
I think by now Hux has probably like tromped back up, kind of soaked in mud a little bit from being down there. I just go, well, there's definitely some signs of a struggle as well. I didn't interfere with anything. Bonneville, you're fine. But it wasn't like they were lifted off, if you see what I mean. It was strong, pulled them straight in without much fuss, but had a moment to kick about a bit as well.
I'll be honest, I don't really know what sort of things are supposed to live in the Thames. I don't know what kind of thing can live in the Thames.
Yeah, looking in the water, like the stink
Smelling
of all
it
the
from here, even
industry.
Yeah, what was this guy fishing for?
Like he's... Yeah.
Well, in any case, we need to, whether it's something that we have a specific interest in, or whether it's something else, we need to report this. If someone has gone into the Thames, then people should know.
Did any of the things that Hux found have a name on them, or have we not? We did not get that close to find if there's anything like.
I don't think I rifled through belongings yet. No.
He got told not to mess with anything, so I'm going to say that you haven't yet seen.
Oh
I
yeah,
followed my instructions.
Well,
I thought it might be awkward if
admirable.
If Hux started rummaging through stuff before we'd actually,
Well, we should get down there quick. There's all kinds of thieves in London, and if you leave someone's items unattended for more than 5 minutes, I'm sure that they'll all be gone by the time you get to them.
That's true.
Perhaps we should. Some should stay and keep watch. But I think you're right, Mr. Bonneville. That we ought to report this. And James, I suppose you are the witness. You probably need to make some sort of statement. You probably don't need to mention any of Vaesen or anything. You've just seen a man get pulled on, and
yes, I think at this point that's all that needs to be.
Perhaps he just fell in. Don't have to say anything more.
Yeah. What if What if they think it's me, though? It's going to seem pretty strange, isn't it? A man
Strange.
in London, the sole witness of somebody going into the river, disappears for a few years, comes back same day, reports another man going into the river.
Did you report it last time then?
Yeah.
See what you mean.
Were you under some sort of suspicion last time?
No, but I'm just saying that a second time.
Yeah, maybe one.
Of course, no. I'll do it. I'm just. Yeah.
No, I reckon you're right. Give us your story. We'll tell it. It's safer that way. You don't want people looking at you out of suspicion for no reason.
I mean, we could say that we found fishing tackle unattended with.
Let's just say one of us saw it. It's fine. You can give us a story.
I
Dealers will
personally-
look into anything. They'll suspect him the second he says this. He's right.
Personally, Mr. Hux, I personally would rather not draw any more attention to the society than is necessary. And if James is willing to tell the story, I'm sure Mr. Bonneville could reassure him that the police won't just use him reporting a crime in the past as an excuse to pin the blame on him, or has Scotland Yard truly got that despicable in their behaviour, in your experience as a PI, Mr. Bonneville?
I would look suspiciously at Bonneville.
Miss Bonneville, do you sometimes get private informants about matters that you can report to the police? You must have a relationship with these people, the police officers and such. Maybe not here in London. I don't know, but it must be. I don't really know how these things work. Would that be sufficient?
Breaking character, probably, although I haven't spent the requisite improvement points to firm up a relationship. But perhaps this might be the start of a happy.
Maybe the relationship is lapsed and needs to be
rekindled,
reforged.
Yeah.
Look, it's fine. I've kept you out here in the rain long enough. I'll just go. You go back, and I'll meet you back at the house.
I'm happy going with you, James. If
I don't think you should go alone.
Okay, that would be nice. Thank you.
Should any of us stay here in case, to make sure nothing's disturbed, in case the police do want to come and have a look at the scene here?
I'm happy to stay. I could take some more photos.
Yes, perhaps if you can
more photographs. Sorry, apologies.
Mosley just invented the
very ahead of time. Everyone knows
take
Mosley
off,
is
right?
really a revolutionary. He's a progressive. He's progressive.
Okay. Who's hanging out there?
I'll come along with you, with Miss Bonneville and James. If they need a character vouch or anything like that, hopefully that'll help.
Stay here, see if it resurfaces. Probably won't unless someone goes poking around, but it's worth a shot.
Which way did you say you saw it go, Bonneville?
I will indicate the direction I saw it go.
Yeah, so basically, as you got to the bridge, the area that you went down with a little sort of babe it was down to the right, Sam. And Bonneville, you saw the shadow move from that side over to the other side, basically, of the bridge.
Gotcha. Okay. I will wander in the direction.
So it's heading west from east.
Okay. I will just wander casually in the direction that Bonneville pointed. I'm not really intending to see anything, but probably at least as long as I think it'll take them to go to police and come back, and then I'll wander back again.
Just listen for more screams further down,
Exactly.
further upstream as people get dragged in.
You probably won't need to eat again for at least a few days.
Okay, so you head to the station and wander in. And James says, "Excuse me, I saw somebody fall into the river. I think they might need help. They was fishing." And the young man on the desk says, "Right this way, sir. We'll take a statement from you, and I'll get somebody down there straight away." They intend to leave you two out here and not in the not at the desk where they're taking the statement.
I think our friend's a little shaken about this. Can we sit with him?
Yeah, sure. If you can find a chair.
I'm happy to stand.
Yeah, he takes the statement and basically it's fine. James doesn't mention the previous time. It doesn't come up. Obviously, they wouldn't think 10 years later or whatever, oh, it's this guy again. Like this person was probably in primary school at the time. Yeah. At the time of the previous things. So
there's just like a most wanted board, and there's just like man who reported thing like the wanted top suspect number 1.
And he says, "Right, thank you very much for that. I'll head down there myself in a moment." And he kind of points you out, and then you see him getting like a raincoat on and grabbing somebody else to come with him.
Is he likely to follow us back? Is that the intention, or
if you haven't said that you're going back there, then you could have a couple of minutes lead on him if you wanted to be ahead of him, or if you were wanting to show him exactly where, then you could also do that. But I don't think he's expecting, because he probably knows that area reasonably well. You're not, you're only a couple of minutes away.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask to say, do you need us to show you exactly where it happened? We can walk you there.
Oh, yes, very kind. Come on. And he gets somebody who you think looks a lot more experienced than him, but for some reason is letting this young man sort of drag him along. And you head back out into the rain.
I'm very impressed at how serious is the immediate action on this. Does this sort of thing happen often? It's very reassuring to see this.
Well, I'm glad that you think that. Yes, I take my job very seriously, and my job is the safety and well-being of the people and property of the many boroughs of London, miss. So here we are. The other guy's just smoking a cigarette and not saying anything.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess polite chit chat, I guess, until we get there.
Yeah.
Right. So Peter's name.
So down there, is it?
Yes, the fishing tackle is just over there.
Right. You lot stay up here. I'll pop down and have a look. It's getting dark now. He's actually got a lantern with him, and he kind of shifts it from a wide one to like a beamed lantern as he heads down. So you see this kind of ray of light moving around down there, and you hear the kind of metallic creak of the tackle box opening amidst the pitter patter of the rain on the water, and he shouts up, "Oh, we've got a name. That's something.
B is trying to half keep an aim in case the creature comes back without looking like she's actively aiming a gun at a police officer.
Nice.
Not standing next to B.
She's not like raising it, it's just sort of like holding it and like like ready to draw, but feeling like she wants
I've
to
been
raise
looking
it.
to get vengeance on the London Constabulary for years, and this is finally the chance, she said.
Push him in. Yeah.
He kind of mills around down there for a couple more minutes. If Hux is kind of paying attention, you see that he looks like he spotted the area that you saw where he'd kind of been semi-dragged in.
I am going to get a photo of this Bobby doing his investigation. I think it'll be if we want to sell some stuff to the news, this could be what we end up selling. So
and then after a few probably sort of mildly tense moments while he's down there in the dark, and you know, you might be considering what may happen to him, he turns around and heads back up. And he's brought the tackle box and the stool with him. And he says, right, no sign of the man down there. I'll put the word out and have people keeping an eye out down the river as well. See if we can't get some kind of boat out shortly and see if anybody can spot him. But thank you for bringing this to our attention. And be safe and let us know if anything else about it comes to mind, I suppose. But we'll be heading back now.
Yes, thank you very much. Just kind of peel away, and I'm assuming the others are like maybe just a little bit further down the bridge or something. Catch up, and yeah, let them know briefly what happened. Do you think if they're going to come out with a boat, is it dangerous, or should we?
There's boats on
stay?
this river every day, hundreds of them. Can't be dangerous to go on the Thames any more than usual.
Well, it's one thing to be here every day, but it's another thing just after an attack's happened.
Yeah, but James said he saw it years ago too. Maybe this thing's been in the Thames for all this time, just picking off people now and then. Obviously not got noticed much, has it?
And if it is some kind of predator, then this might be the safest time to be on the river.
I wonder
we
if
should do
there's
an
been a
investigation
history.
at night. This night.
What you mean now that it's fed or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you know how to drive a boat, Mosling?
Can't be that difficult.
Smash cuts to several people floundering on board the tent.
Giant eel thing swimming up.
It's like a massive steam barge heading towards us. And we're like, ah!
Well,
Do we,
in that case, should we get in, get dry, and give you a nice strong cup of tea, James?
Yes. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'll pop the hot water on straight away.
James, that's not your job here.
I think Hawkins can deal with that.
Oh.
It'll already be on by the time we get there. Don't worry. He knows. He's got some sort of sense. I don't know how he does it.
Years of aggressive.
We need to get Miss Pugh to when there's lots suddenly going on again, and I suppose we ought to see if we can do figure if anybody knows about this creature, if there's anything in the society books or anything. But
yeah. Speaking of that, Bonneville, do you know if there's been any history of this sort of thing in London? I've never heard. I mean, people go missing on the water occasionally, but I've never heard of a reliable, disappearances every day or something like that. Do you know if that's a thing? If it's been here a lot?
I think I tried looking up the previous occurrence last time before when we first found out about you, James. But I couldn't find anything in the library at the time. Perhaps I was looking in the wrong place.
Well, that kind of suggests it's not, people disappearing all the time, though, right? Because we would have heard about that. everyone's going missing by the river anytime they go fishing.
I suspect, yes, I suspect there are enough journalists like our friend Albert that would enjoy a story like this. So I doubt it's I hope it's not a widespread problem. But
so if it is a predator, there's just one of them, or it doesn't need to eat very much, or whatever, or it goes somewhere else,
or it has particular tastes.
I think we ought to have a look and see if there's anything we can find on watery creatures, but it's all just speculation really at this point, isn't it? I assume we're walking back as well as we're chatting.
You said
How did it go with Mr. Bradley at the newspaper?
yeah.
Well, reasonably. He's trying to cut some sort of deal with us that we feed him information to stop him prying into our affairs. But
Well, no, he wouldn't need to if we just offer him up the information. He wouldn't need to pry, would he? Doesn't seem like much of a deal.
Well, no. We do need to do some more investigation there. He does. There are certain elements of his character that I think might form some form of leverage. He does enjoy his drink, and interestingly, his there was another chap at the Times there named, it was Ben, wasn't it?
Yes.
Interesting fellow. Drew some interesting doodles. Might I don't know. He might have the site. We've left him our information just in case he feels he wants to talk to somebody. But in the meantime, I will yes, between when I have free time, I will investigate Albert rather more thoroughly and see whether there's a more permanent way that we can dissuade him.
Okay, so you make it back to Rose House, and you can hear sound coming from the sort of kitchen with the table, and it's kind of the dining area. There is like a big dining room, but the times that you've eaten there, it tends to be sort of around the kitchen table. You can hear noise coming from in there, and Rupert and Eleanor and Gladys are sitting around the table when you get there. Eleanor stands and says, "My goodness, what, you were gone a while? Everything all right? Well, I know something has happened, but are you all unharmed?"
We're fine.
Yeah. We didn't really learn much. We didn't see anything else again, but we did report the matter to the police, so they're investigating now.
You thought you
This
might have
person
seen
was.
it, right, Bonneville? You thought you saw something.
Yes. Something roughly. They wouldn't have used meters at this stage, but for the purposes of
Yeah, we'll say
Parallel.
sort of 18 feet by 3 feet, maybe something like that. Yeah. Or yards. We could do yards. Right. Yes. That's.
Is there anything that you can remember that's made an appearance previously?
There's nothing I'm aware of in the natural realm that fits those proportions, particularly. Certainly, that would be found in the Thames. I suppose the only the only similarity that I'm aware of is obviously to James's previous reports. So,
do we have information on those here in the society?
his original report to us will be somewhere, certainly.
There must be some newspaper or something, some articles, maybe not here, maybe in a library or something. If I think you mentioned there was a string of them before, so there must have been a known pattern of missing persons. There must be something that was reported. There might be, I don't know, specific people or locations or something that might be useful from the disappearances last time around. That might be useful.
Yeah, and
I suppose we ought to have a look.
I got interviewed in a couple, so there's definitely some that exist if the archives are still there, I suppose.
Perhaps tomorrow we can have a
Hawkins kind of pushes a cup of tea into James's hand, and then all of a sudden kind of reappears next to him and is wrapping a blanket around him and like pushing him down into a chair because he's still standing. He goes, "Oh, thank you."
There's plenty stronger than that here too if you need something.
No, I shouldn't really. I mean, I need to be getting back, really, tomorrow. Is that going to be a problem?
I don't suppose so. You're probably better away from here. The only other thing I can think is, well, is there any reason why you'd be the only one who's seen it?
or any reason to think that it's attracted to you or appears when you're around. If there's any sort of connection there, I can't imagine why, but and actually perhaps that's a good reason to leave rather than to stay.
I really hope that isn't the case.
I wouldn't have thought anything of it. It's just that, as you said before, as soon as you come back, suddenly you spot it again. That was all that made me think of it. It's probably nothing.
But I suppose about me being the only one to see it, if only certain people see these things, then maybe that's why.
Well, you're not the only one now, so you can take comfort in that at least.
Means I'm not mad, I suppose.
You go back whenever you need, I think.
I'm sure Lady Spence would encourage you to get back to your family.
Yeah, right.
Miss Pugh, obviously we got a little derailed there. It's starting to get a little late and dark, and it is absolutely throwing it down out there. We can still head out to go visit Sister Griffiths this evening. She's not expecting us today. We didn't know when you'd be back, so if you prefer to go in the morning, we can do that in the morning.
Let's wait and be around for this gentleman this evening, I think.
Oh, what we're talking about, there was something you all reminded me of before we were going to leave. Something to do with a book. There was something written in one of them books.
That's right. Yes, Miss Pugh, you said there was a book. There's some society recommendation about how to deal with this. Sorry, not Miss Pugh. Sister Griffiths had mentioned that there was a book here in the society about the Spertus that had a rather dark and awful recommendation about how to deal with it, which seems to be completely counter to how she actually dealt with the thing. And I think we ought to rectify that record. So I don't know if. Well, yes, I suppose we could have a look for that in the library.
I can lead you to that book. I did read, find that the other day, and yes, didn't really think it was worth mentioning given the ridiculousness of the approach. But yes, I can lead you to that book fairly easily.
So these books, how does it work? Is there like lots of that piece of writing all over the place that we need to go and change all of now, or is it just that one?
Yes, this. Well, I can't imagine this is a published text that's available to lots of multiple copies. It must be some sort of private collection of records that's been, well, I'm assuming Miss Bonneville is something of that nature. Presumably it's not something we need to go and speak to some publishers about. It's just a single book here we need to address, hopefully.
I'm presuming
it's like a society almanac-y kind of book.
Just stick like a post-it note in it, you know.
So Rupert says, forgive me, but you can add an addendum with additional learned information, but we shouldn't remove anything.
I would be very interested to know who it was, if we can know this, that had put that suggestion in. Speaking quite frankly, Sister Griffiths said that this thing is a parasite, and now that she's dedicated her life to good deeds and the church, it's been sapped of the evil it was whatever darkness it was feeding off, and living a life of good has essentially killed the thing. And that recommendation was to conduct some very, very evil acts indeed. If anything, that's would probably strengthen this awful creature. It's a dangerous recommendation. I think it's not given in good faith at all.
Right. But that doesn't mean we need to erase it, though, does it? So what happens when the next person comes along, decides they don't want to have a life in a convent, and then some ne'er-do-well comes up and tells them, oh, you just need to do whatever this horrible thing is. And they went, well, I've never read anything to the contrary, so that might work. Sure, it's more valuable to keep the wrong information and say that it's wrong.
I think being very clear that saying you must commit your life to good is obviously counter to committing acts of murder.
I see no problem, Sister Constance, with adding an addendum to the book which says, later society members have no reason to believe that the above is true. However, this is proven to work.
I got to admit, I'm a bit on the side of this good sister here. I reckon it shouldn't stay. What happens when someone gets themselves a spiritus in future, tries to live this life for good, and it fails, and sees, well, there's this other thing that might work too, and it's awful? Is that really worth it?
If nothing else, I think the language needs to be much stronger in directly saying that we know this is false and people should never try this. I don't think we can have it would be irresponsible to leave any possibility of somebody reading that and still thinking it's a viable possibility.
Did you say it was all
ridiculous.
Did you say it was all about killing a load of people?
Yes.
Yeah, well, if someone's desperate to get rid of this thing, that's pretty bad, but someone might be desperate enough to try, right?
Exactly.
Given them the idea, even if we say don't do it, seems like a bad move, someone desperate.
Draft me an addendum, Sister Constance. As strongly worded as you see fit.
Very well.
I
will go off and do that immediately.
Rupert, Eleanor, does this society, can we place troublesome or problematic books in a restricted category? This was just simply something that I found in the main library. Perhaps if we come across books of this nature, perhaps we should place stronger controls on them.
The books here are for society members only, Mr. Bonneville, so simply by having an update as information changes, if you as a group came across a book which had this original suggestion in and the new suggestion, I don't think you would
try
and I'm sure that it would be very unlikely that you would mention the original version to the client.
Indeed, for my part, I didn't mention it.
And perhaps the more drastic options would not be mentioned unless literally nothing else were a possibility. I do.
I'm not there. I'm up in my
Oh,
room.
you've gone.
Angrily writing an addendum. Scratch that out. Let me try again. Scratch that out.
I do not disagree with you that the original course of action mentioned there should not be taken. But also, I don't necessarily see the benefit of a restricted section. As I have said, the library is for the 7 of us at the moment, and anyone from any other area of the society. And
I agree. Mosling, kind of, who has been quiet for this whole thing, but has always kind of decided, let's leave it all in, leave all the stuff in. Because if we take this out, perhaps this person is. You lose context on a person's writing. Let's say the same person who's recommended this step or noted it has written other, maybe less drastic or other dubious comments in other texts. Without this, we lack a full understanding of their persuasion, their view on the world, that they're the kind of person who would recommend murdering 12 people for the Spiritus. To rid of Spiritus. We lack context of all kinds, and as a general rule, this society is clearly wise enough to handle dangerous knowledge carefully.
Yeah, speaking of that, can we get this book and have a look at who did it then? Because presumably different people have put things in there, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if this person's recommendation for all Vaesen might be to kill half a dozen people, we don't know.
Work.
But we can only know these kinds of things if we are provided with the full context of the situation, and future members of the society are also provided with said context. But I think an addendum is a very intelligent idea.
I love the idea of Constance is adding an addendum for everything this particular author has written. Just by the way, they also suggested killing 12
child
people.
murderer. It's like
written by murder author. Written by murder author.
She's writing whatever the 1860s version of writing citation needed next to everything this person's ever written is.
Yeah.
I like the idea that Mosling also tells a story about somebody who once said that the bridge was of Tudor construction. The very everything every time after that I thought was just not worth reading at all.
Oh God. Amazing.
There is,
I suppose. Sorry, go on, John.
There is also the fact. I'm not saying it's viable, or that we should do it, or that anyone should do it. But if the point of the books is to record the truth, we don't know for certain that it doesn't work. I'm not suggesting finding out or anything like that. I'm just saying maybe saying it's wrong is...
But then the person will have the context of what Sister Constance writes, and they will be able to look at the available evidence and make their own decisions in the future. And if we learn more about how to handle the Spiritus, we can increase the amount of knowledge the society has, and 3 opinions will substitute 1.
The information stored in these journals is collected from personal experience, but also folk tales and fairy tales. So perhaps there is a writing somewhere, a story, where the ending of the story is that this happens and the Spiritus is negated. As I've said, by putting the addendum in this, that we don't believe this works and there is a viable and significantly better alternative that prevents somebody from finding the tale having only read our account and thinking, why isn't this mentioned there? Perhaps this will work.
I think we do have a duty to diligently record our discoveries as we go forward. And yes, I think there are more modern techniques, perhaps, in terms of documentation and library maintenance. I think we can do some work to improve the information held in that collection.
For the good of all.
Indeed.
I'm
I
going to go
suppose Sister
develop some
Constance
pictures.
returns. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm typing up a little something, but yeah, I'll have it. I'll
Okay,
give
cool.
whatever it is I finish writing up, but yeah. Right. Well, I suppose we've got this new thing to research as well. Do we have any books on water, Vaesen, or the river creatures? I don't know the right terminology for this sort of thing.
Estuarine or aquatic, perhaps marine. What do we think?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yes, please go ahead. Perhaps Eleanor and I should stay here and keep Ms. Pugh and Mr. Sykes company.
I'll stay with you. Not like I've got much to do. Can we have a drink?
Yes, of course. What can I get you, Mr. Huxley?
Ooh, maybe a whiskey? I haven't had one of them in a while.
Rupert says, and me, and one for Mr. Sykes. Ms. Pugh. He goes and gets some drinks.
Yeah, you enjoy your reading books this evening, folks.
No drink is allowed in the library, I presume.
Oh, it's hard, this job. I say, like, taking my drink.
Okay, so you're heading
You're
to the
a class
library.
traitor, Hux.
What can I say? The good life. It's starting to seep in.
He'll come down, he's in a smoking jacket.
Oh, I need new art. Yeah, John.
Yeah, update already. Living the good life. I love it.
Okay, so Henry B. and Constance Library?
I'm looking at John.
I'm trying to think if there's something else that B would do instead, but
I'm kind of torn between. I mean, if there's research that needs to be done, if no one else is doing research on river beasts, then I'll do that. If that's well covered, I might start trying to. If we have newspaper archives, I might start trying to do some digging on the journalist.
So I believe Mosling is developing the pictures currently, so it's just the three of you to decide what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be going to start having a look at anything on the creature. Yeah.
yeah, I probably would as well.
There is actually a role I could make as well. Maybe while I'm just mulling things over, I might use my well-traveled skill to make a manipulation roll to see if I can think of someone, an NPC, like the riverbanks, who I think might know the goings on. I'm just
Perfect,
curious to see if someone will know.
Yeah, great.
I'll make that roll.
I think Sam's rolling, maybe.
Yeah, I have 6 dice in total. The first 5 failed, but the last one succeeded.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll say that as you're kind of sitting there and chatting and drinking, somebody pops into your head that kind of that area today and where you've kind of gleaned from James that he'd previously been, you think, oh, maybe this, this person's been around for a while, so they might sort of be around for both times. So John, Inga and Steve, can you make learning rolls for me, please? Steve, are you looking at newspapers?
Yes. So I'm kind of, I want to get some research done on the journalist and just see whether I can get some sort of background and leverage potentially. See what sort of stories he's written, whether he's been involved in any any dubious practices, that sort of stuff. If that's okay.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's great. So if you all make me learning rolls.
1 success.
Also 1 success.
Okay.
Also 1 success. That was on 7 dice.
Okay. Justin, you're fishing around with your paper in the
Fishing. Very
developing liquid. Did you say? Do you make another roll? Did you say?
I said we just. Well, I mean, I have not got any information from my 4 success roll. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's
I just like the idea you immediately rush home to show this photograph to your kids to see whether they can spot anything.
Oh dear.
Okay, so B and Constance, you have to sort of work your way through quite a bit of text, and a lot of what you come across when you're looking for sort of, anytime you see anything about like, oh, this folk tale's about a boat going somewhere, a lot of it is sort of mermaids, selkies, krakeny things. You do kind of wonder about, maybe it is like the arm of a giant octopus, krakeny thing. But then you think actually from Bonneville saying that he saw just kind of this straight shape heading off that doesn't quite add up. And you do find a story each about a sea serpent. You wouldn't expect it to be in the river. Like that's not its, it's always kind of out in the, like actually in the ocean or the seas whenever it's mentioned in these stories. But it's water, so that's not to say that it couldn't be. And in these stories, there is the mention of basically anything that it sees as a threat, it will attack. It's quite aggressive in its defense, I suppose. And also that it does have, or seems to have in these stories, the capability to sort of hypnotize victims also. And that's all you managed to get this evening, but there may be more to be found once you've got a bit more info from other things. Steve, did you say 1 success?
Yes.
Okay. You managed to find a few articles by Albert Bradley One of which is a sort of smear piece. About an MP, which then later has a very strongly worded retraction. And the MP's name is Mark Copperfield. So that could be somebody that you might want to try and speak to, potentially.
Okay. I'll note that down.
You don't find anything written about him, not that you necessarily would expect to, but actually, when you're kind of looking through stuff, I imagine this is quite a nice, a nice little find. Actually, something to use.
Cool.
And Justin, Gail, it obviously takes some time, but you managed to get this picture developed.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Mosling, being the expert photographer that he is, knows that because it was dark, he would either need to shine some extra light on the subject or leave the shutter open for a little longer, which is what you did. And you have managed to get a slightly sort of better defined image than Bonneville saw with his eyes. And what you can see is similar to what has been described by him and James. So it's not the tentacle of a larger beast. It is the beast itself. You can see that it has kind of ridged fins down its back. And you can see that it either has sort of two fins quite near its maw, or almost like hands. Yes, size-wise, you would say similar to what Bonneville thought. Sort of 18 feet by 3 feet wide, roughly, and sort of thinning as it goes back. So the end of its tail is quite thin indeed.
Does it have? Well, yeah.
Go on.
Does it have 4 limbs, or does it have just these 2 front limbs?
You can see a couple of fins further back that are definitely fins. These front things look a little more like they may be more
Weird
dexterous than a
appendages.
fin. Yeah.
A bony fin that can be curved into the shape of a fist to punch.
Or open doors with an opposable thumb, that kind of thing. No, maybe not an opposable thumb.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yes.
I'll show the gang.
What else did you take a picture of?
Oh, I took a photo of the policeman doing an inspection of the missing person, which at the very least could be a good teaser to get a story going if we do want to go down the story route. Or other photos,
It's quite a moody image of the.
Yeah.
You've got the kind of the beam of light going, towards the water, reflecting. You can see kind of a couple of drops of rain in the water in the lamplight. It's a nice picture.
That's good. but it's not got any interesting features in it like bridges or architecture or old roads. So I don't think it'd be very interesting. No one would really want to see anything like that. I don't see what value it has. Couldn't sell something like that.
Okay, I think that's everybody's stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll show everyone my pictures and yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how we think it compares with the readings about the sea serpent and see if that feels like a good fit or not.
Yeah, you reckon that could all fit together, especially if there are numerous of this creature. Maybe some of them are different sizes, so some stories relating to sort of bigger things could also be another one of this thing, and there maybe it's a young one, or you're not sure how that would work, but yes.
Presumably they get older with time.
Yeah. Has Hooks continued sort of sipping the whiskey as the research has gone on?
I think so. I'm presuming that it took them a while, so probably a fair few glasses down by the time I see them again.
Researching the whiskey.
Exactly. I probably let others talk and kind of just chilled by the fire or something, unless anyone's particularly asked me anything.
How does one chill by a fire? Surely the opposite happens.
Oh, it's just a very cold night. What can I say? I suppose we're drying off at this point, aren't we? To be fair, because it was so soggy outside as well.
Yeah, you'll probably be the driest unless anybody's changed. Much luck in the library.
Yes, we think we've identified a possibility here. And yeah, we'll kind of show a passage of the book, and I guess if you've got the photos and stuff coming up, then I guess, can we show James if he's still around, if he hasn't gone to bed or what have you?
Yeah, he's still there. He's also as near to sort of the so there's no fire in here, but there's the hot stove, which is still kind of cooling down. So you could both be kind of over near that, trying to dry off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I saw.
Does the book suggest any action that we can take? Any response? Any way of dealing with it?
Doesn't seem like it. None that we found tonight.
Did you say it was something from the sea?
Yeah.
Are we at the tides here?
Yeah, it might be good to look into tides and see if maybe the water is more salty. Certain, when the tide's coming in, and that's
unnaturally high tides, maybe.
Okay.
One of the papers will have tide times in it. We can probably get a look at it now, I imagine. Constance really hates tides.
I mean, this is so uninteresting to Constance.
Why don't you check the Bible for references to sea serpents? See what that's got in it.
There is one.
There's quite a lot, I imagine. Why don't you do some serious research in the Bible?
Can I go and grab a paper from today that I know will have the tides in it? Because I've seen people read tides in it before and hand it to someone else.
The Mariner's Herald.
Yes, the society have numerous papers delivered every day, so you can pick up whatever and fling it at somebody.
I don't see how knowing what's happening with the tides is going to help us to get rid of this thing. What are we going to?
Well, we don't know if it's this.
We don't know
if it's this sea creature or not, do we? It's just a guess. If it does match with tides, then chances are it is.
In terms of identifying, if this has only happened a few times in many years, then perhaps there's
Perhaps it
a
only
unique set of
comes up.
circumstances that predicts its arrival.
I will turn back and look slightly grumpily at Constance, and then hand the newspaper to Bonneville and go, look, was it high tide just like a few hours ago?
And I will check to see whether there's anything unique about today's tides.
All right. Well, you can all gather more information, I suppose. A bit of a spare part here. Can
We
I
all have
maybe
different
just go
roles to
back
play, Sister Constance. So don't
yeah,
fear.
for sure. Can I maybe go back and have a look at this? I'm not expecting this to go anywhere, but I might just spend the rest of the evening whiling away, seeing if there is. I don't know if there's authors are like logged with records in the society, but if we can at least see if there's any information we can gather about who wrote the thing about the Spertus, and if there is any way of tracking down other information that they've provided to the society that we can identify. I'm not a researcher, not expecting this to be successful in the slightest, but yeah, that's
Okay.
I think the next thing that's on her mind.
Sure, I can tell you this now. So, yes, basically, when people add something, they either sign or initial or whatever. That they leave some mark of who they are. So this entry of yours is from a William Blakely, and you recognize that surname as the same surname as Eleanor. As soon as you spot it.
Aside from spotting that connection, I'm trying to remember, have we had any other information about how Eleanor already have we, like, from discussions with her about how she got involved? Like, do we know that, like, is it like a family thing? Is it likely to have been her father or something like that? Or at the moment, is it just a surname that's the connect? That's all I know.
So she has married into being a Blakely.
Ah, yeah, gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Because Rupert is Merriweather.
Okay.
No, sorry. No. Yeah. She's married into being a Blakely.
Yeah, I think I'll leave that for now. But yeah, also just see if I can find any other info. I don't know if they catalog things like that, or if Constance would even really know. It's probably a lot less research driven. That's probably like pick a random book, see if you can see the word Blakely or WB in there, and kind of skim for that. It's bad research. But yeah, we'll do that for the evening.
Sure. Yeah, you find some other entries. Like, some are kind of weird, but you think that some entries that you found for anybody would be kind of weird. There's not a pattern of like it's all you have to do bad things to, there are some that are similar to like like when you found entries on the fairies, and it was sort of the pixies, sorry. And it's kind of pleasant. Like it yeah. So they're not all dreadful.
Can I? The library is a separate room to where the others are, right? Or is that where? Essentially, I'm wondering, can I pocket the book with the murder Spertus info, so it's not just left in the library?
There's nothing to prevent
Yeah.
you from taking that.
Yeah, but and without anybody else directly seeing that.
Yeah, because nobody's in there with you at the moment. Like, do you carry sort of a bag with you or anything like that? Or, I mean, you could just take it to your room. Everybody else is downstairs.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah. I'll maybe lock it away in a trunk or something in my room. But yeah, I don't want it unattended, or at the moment.
Did we? Go on. Sorry, Johnny.
No, go on, Sam.
I was just saying, what's happening about these tides? I'm very curious.
Yes. So are you going to try and correlate anything with the previous sort of times, or are you just looking at this? So you look at this, okay, and high tide was about 4 hours before the event occurred. So give me a roll on
Learning.
Probably would be learning, wouldn't it? Of all of them. Could be investigation.
It's like what would be an idea roll in Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, whichever one you think. 'Cause I'm not sure actually.
Observation.
think
I think
learning?
isn't like isn't like
Observation's personal. Like,
yeah,
You could do a
I'd go
straight logic
inspiration.
roll.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, that's
Or
hard.
yeah, you lose
investigation.
dice then though. That seems mean.
That's true.
If it's a
Having
thinking
ideas is hard.
spontaneous, I'd go
It is.
investigation. I think.
Yeah, let's do investigation. Also, I did misspeak, and actually, Rupert married a Blakely rather than Eleanor marrying into being a Blakely.
Oh.
So it would be Eleanor's surname by blood.
Because Eleanor is unmarried, right? Or
Yes, and is Rupert's sister-in-law.
right, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
How are the learning rolls going?
Were
The
they for
investigation rolls.
Investigation, yeah, sorry. Yeah. For the tide-related stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious where Hux is going for this. I'll roll for that.
I have rolled and 8 dice, 3 successes again.
Oh, nice.
What a big egg.
I'm burning up
Okay.
successes.
It's really
I'll
useful
fail.
having an investigator, isn't it? Stuff, man.
Okay. Bonneville has a look at the tides and kind of looks at them for a minute. Flicks through the rest of the paper. And then you have a feeling that you want to check sort of stuff from around the time of the previous ones as well.
Yeah. Do we have almanacs, anything like that? That would.
Yes, you can get access to those. Are you sort of saying anything, or are you just running off and going?
Well, I guess I've got one data point so far, so I'll say I'm going off to find the appropriate reference books.
Okay, can you make a vigilance roll for me?
Sure.
Steve?
That would be 5 plus 2 dice. God, I'm rolling well tonight. 3 successes again.
Inga, can you make an agility roll for me, please?
Love it. I love it. A bit of versus.
Oh, sorry, a stealth roll. Sorry. That's what I meant. Sorry.
As Henry disappears off, I nudge Hux in the ribs and say, I think he's got something.
Good. Let's follow him.
1 success.
You're so drunk, Hux. Go home.
Okay. Steve, Henry goes up the stairs towards the doors ahead of you, which is the entrance to the library. And just as you're about to open the door opens, and Sister Constance kind of scoots past you, and you spot that she's carrying a book out with her. which looks suspiciously like the book where you found that bit of information previously. But I imagine that you're on,
Yes.
like file it away for later kind of thing. And you dig through some stuff and both sort of relatively recent, like the last few days, because this idea has hit you. You look through the last few days and then you look around the time of the previous incidents. And while there have been instances of this same thing between then and now, what you realize is the initial events happen sort of after a high tide, but at a point in time when the tides are lower than normal. So that has happened at other times where the tide is lower than normal, but you suddenly realize that perhaps this thing is getting stuck, essentially. It lives out in the vast, wide oceans. It gets too close at a point when it then can't get back out again, and then it's stuck. And until the time that it happens to go towards an exit to the river at a time when the tide is high enough for it to escape, essentially.
I'm stood in the doorway with B, looking intensely at one of them. Just go, shh! You can tell he's found something interesting.
I'll be sort of scribbling notes on papers and making notes of page numbers, and so eventually I will collate all of this and turn around and see you there and explain. Yes, it could well be that it's being brought in at high tide and they're just getting stuck and can't get out. I don't know what that. I don't quite know how that helps us, but at least we can maybe predict. Predict when it might be around.
Can you write down when other times that's been true, so we can have some idea when other attacks might have happened?
Yes, I can do that. Did I have enough information to look at the? Do we have the date of the historic attacks? The dates.
Yeah.
Right. And the
10 years ago, roughly. But you've got the actual dates, yeah.
Yeah, and well, if we have the tide information for them, I'd probably. I guess have I just done this anyway? Check the tide information for historic dates to.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So you've tied that up and gone.
Yeah.
That's also the previous thing, which is why you came to the conclusion that maybe that's why it's not all the time.
It's just as a specific sequence of yes.
Yeah.
Well, as it happens, I've thought of a friend I've got round here, Shorty. We could go see him. He'll if there's been anything else going on that hasn't been talked about, people go missing that haven't got all the way to Peelers, I bet he'll know about it. So if you come up with a list of times and dates, maybe we'll bring up something there.
I'm not sure what we do, but perhaps if this friend of yours knows about, well, we'd need a big fishing rod for this, wouldn't we?
Or a net?
How long until the next one, Oliver?
I would do some calculations and.
Oh, do you mean until you think it would be high enough for it to leave?
I guess, yeah.
Probably a couple of days.
So either we try and track it in the river, or we get a boat and monitor the entrance of the river in a couple of days and see if we can. I guess once it leaves, it's less of a problem. But I suspect we want to deal with this to avoid it attacking more people down the line.
Well, I mean, that if it leaves, that might be it for now, but it can't be the same one over the past 10 years, can it? Which means they're going out and then they're coming back in.
Well, I don't know how long these things might live. I'm not sure. I'm certainly not an expert in that field.
If only
But
there
on
was
the-
some. Go on.
Yeah, on the balance of probability, it's unlikely to be the same creature, I would have thought.
Which means we should probably come up with a way to stop it from coming back.
Or stop it, leave it, and kill it if it needs to be killed.
I don't suppose those books revealed that it does it have any form of intelligence? Is it simply does it simply respond to its environment? Can it?
Stop me if I'm wrong, Jonny, but all it said was it's protective of its territory. Well, not its territory. It's very aggressive against perceived threats, which I guess fishermen would count, but it didn't say whether anyone's ever tried talking to it or out, but
Might be difficult to talk to something underwater.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't say I've ever tried to talk to a fish either.
But it might be
Oh.
able to hypnotize too as well, yeah, so
Yeah.
that maybe it can do something. Maybe it's been confused for these sirens of mythology before.
Suddenly, I don't want to get into a boat in the middle of a river with one nearby.
If only there was some kind of barrage on the Thames to protect us from them.
Justin, can you please make a vigilance roll for me?
Absolutely. Vigilance, absolutely. That's one of my best skills.
How's your lying skill?
How many ones did I roll? I rolled a lot of ones, but I did roll one success.
Okay.
In addition to my lots of ones.
You're also in the library, aren't you? At this point, I think, having this conversation. Are you?
I can't remember, where did Henry run off to?
The library.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the library.
You spot like a pair of hands and a pair of eyes peeking at you from the top of a bookshelf, specifically at you. And then it sees you looking and disappears.
I will not react.
Okay.
If these guys are in the library, I literally just gone to put the book up, lock it away, and then come back down to the library again. So I'll be back at some point soon as well, I guess. Probably
There was
surprised
that-
to see them all.
There was that book that had the solution to the Spiritus riddle. Perhaps they will have a solution to this one too. Someone should go find it. I don't say that.
Is it just these guys, or have any of the
Yes.
others group? Yes, it's just
Yeah.
okay. In that case, I can I say, Mr. Bonneville, I think we may need to investigate other possible members of the society.
What do you mean?
That information on the Spiritus was written by a Blakely. I don't know what relation they are, but it seems likely that they're a relation of Eleanor's. And I am concerned that my strongly worded revision might not be acceptable, given what I suggest about the author of that information. And if it's somebody who has a position of influence over Eleanor, that's potentially very dangerous. I believe whoever wrote that may have been under the influence of Aspertus. It's a William Blakely. I don't know if, well, again, Jonny, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if they're alive or what has happened to them or what their position is at the moment, but I think we ought to know.
You hear the smashing of china downstairs.
Shall we
Yeah,
table
turn
this
around and go
discussion for later?
Are you heading out of the doors into the... Yeah. So you get to the top of the stairs and you see a broken teacup on the floor, and you see Gladys Pugh, and her body is contorted in a rather unnatural fashion. She's about 5 centimeters off the floor, and in quite a guttural voice, she says, "You're too late. She's number 3." And we'll leave it there.
Fun.
Sister Constance, you should have.
We should have gone.
Oh no!
Oh no! What evil deed did she do while we were in the library to give it its final bit of strength? Oh no!
He just took
Oh,
that
well.
last biscuit from the plate. That's what it is. There were like one more biscuits, and there were people in the
Yeah.
room, and she took the last. One.
Took the last Jaffa
The
cake.
extra one. That was it. That was the turning point.
The fates. The fate's worthy of the crime.
Oh, gutted.
Oh well.
But it's possible, like she could have gone and then been like, "Oh, I'll think on it and think on it tomorrow," and then exactly the same thing could have, it's not.
It's not necessarily our fault.
It's not necessarily.
The last thing we need is for someone to turn up at a nunnery and then the next day get contorted in front of everyone, and then
or murder all the nuns.
Then all the
nun
nuns are
massacre.
upset.
Yeah.
Were there 12 nuns? Were there more than 12 nuns in the?
Probably.
That's a good point.
Exactly 12.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. Wednesday night, Simba Room. This Saturday is our one-shot of Dungeon World, the sequel to the previous Dungeon World, so you can watch the first one on our YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, there is a link to our YouTube below the videos, as well as our social media, our Discord, which you should come and chat with us on, and our Patreon. If you want to support us, you can do so there. We are on 993 followers on YouTube now. So if there's 7 people watching who haven't followed us on YouTube, then that would be nice to hit an extra figure along.
I hear that if 7 people subscribe to YouTube, it's a great way of getting rid of some Spertus-like creature.
That's the 2023 addendum.
If
to
they
the
only had
Spertus entry in
YouTube
the...
back then, it would have been so much easier.
They could have got away without those 12 sacrificed people.
Just making out the modern solutions to like old Vaesen problems. Thames Barrage, YouTube.
What we need is a Spertus just going, smash that subscribe button.
You could really sort of do the whole like, is AI real consciousness thing by like killing 12 instances of ChatGPT and seeing whether that
harsh.
How does one even kill an AI though? That's the difficulty.
Just unplug the Ethernet cable.
Or you could gift the Spertus to ChatGPT.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Is that unethical? Who
True
knows?
experiment would have been
Do
done.
we want ChatGPT to
This
be
is
under
to
the
become
influence of a
possessed.
Spartus?
This is
That's
definitely definitely how you end the world. Yeah.
Some might
Yeah.
say that the Bing one was maybe, under the influence already. But hey,
Oh, dearie me.
Yeah.
XP?
Any good questions? Oh yeah, XP. Yeah, we'll come. Sorry, 42. We'll come back to that. Let's do XP.
no
Things-
questions before XP.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, because
We will
otherwise
forget.
I'll-
Yeah, we will forget.
Yeah, I definitely didn't forget already. Did you participate in the session? Yes, you did. One. Did you confront any person?
No, we didn't confront. I don't think it knew we were there. So
I mean, no, running into the room with the Spartus doesn't count as
doesn't really
confronting
count
it
as
yet,
confronting,
does
does
it?
it?
I mean, there was the one that got looked at by Gale as well, but I don't think that counts as confronting either.
Being surprised
I was
by
just
this.
deliberately non-confrontational.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I'm going to say you identified a previously unknown Vaesen.
Yay.
Cool.
Did you take risks to protect other people?
No.
Not to protect, I don't think.
No.
Have you learned anything? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you develop something? No. Did you perform an extraordinary action? No. So 3 XP, I think.
Wonderful.
Cool.
Cool.
Yes, let's pop that question back up from 42. After a couple of adventures, how do characters feel about their ability to see Vaesen?
It is my divine purpose. It is a good thing.
To be fair, in Hux's case, he's got like a lot of backstory. I think he's been able to see them for decades. So it's like it's
Yeah.
something that's been around in his life for ages, and this is just a new use for it. When before it was just it's stuff that apparently other people can't see, and that's quite normal.
If like 99% of the world was colorblind and you could see color, then you'd be like, these poor schmucks.
Yeah, basically.
Well, for Constance, it used to be a disturbing thing, and now it's no. This is good. I can help defeat these evils.
Destroy them.
We've been brought together for this purpose.
I think they're becoming fairly thick and fast recently. So it's I'm pleased I'm not being.
It is our purpose. This is fate. This is deliberate. This is by design. This is
ask,
why.
Constance, when you're getting a flaming sword?
Yes.
We might not be that far off. Might not be super helpful for a sea serpent, but maybe the next one.
Oh my god! Well, it's going to be interesting to now. Well, no, because now Spartus is apparently in full control.
I know.
I mean, it's gonna.
We're gonna have to find out if she's still redeemable somehow. It might not be a lost cause.
How's Sister Constance
on?
How's Sister Constance on dispatching 12 evil people?
I mean,
we can sort out the algebra.
Is a person under the control of a Vaesen essentially a Vaesen themselves? Because you can definitely kill them. That's all good.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. Okay. Good. I'm glad that we've got that one clarified.
So,
moral arbiter.
It may also lead to a question about Constance's specific theology about whether she believes that humans can be truly evil or whether anyone can be redeemable.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
therefore
It's
never.
complicated.
Yeah, God.
I've got some philosophy homework here.
Steve, isn't your character the one who's most recently? Sorry, John. Isn't your character the one who's most recently?
Yes, probably. Yes, it was shortly before the first adventure, still bearing the scars from that. But the ones we've seen since, like the Red Cap, was clearly the nastiest. And although Henry is worried about something that's following him, there are loads of other distractions. So I'm kind of sat in London in a nice house. I'm feeling kind of okay. Just it's it's weird. Just a barrage of things to react to, and as long as nothing particularly furry with a tail trots up, it's all of academic interest. Something to be investigated.
I think as far as Bee's concerned, because she has kind of also been able to see them for as long as she can remember. And like she was raised on not exactly stories of them, but like of her dad warning her about the things that live in the forest. So she's just like, yeah, this is just normal. But as far as she was concerned, they were all like, you didn't get them in the cities. The cities had pushed them out. So now that we've got like at least 2 just sort of wandering through London, maybe even more, is a bit weird to her.
Yeah.
But
Could be a plague.
Vaesen-tide?
That's
Mm.
yeah. What about with Moslin? Because I was like, you still keep being suspicious about whether they even exist, even though you keep encountering them.
yeah.
I'm not suspicious that they exist, but I think that it's ridiculous to jump to Vaesen as the first conclusion.
So, what
When-
did you think of the thing in the library?
What?
What did you think it?
What thing in the library? There was no thing in the library. The thing in the library, I'm just, it's the same. It was the same thing as when we were going down the path, and there was the footsteps behind us, and it's like, I think the best thing to do is to pretend that everything is completely normal, and then maybe it will go away. Like,
Yeah, I'm just interested how you're pretending that the thing that you saw in the library, even if it's a small child.
What do I? What can I like? God has given me the power to accept the things that I cannot change, and
enough.
change the things that I can. And I can't do anything about a weird, creepy creature staring at me from a bookcase. So I'm just going to let that happen. I'm just like,
Okay.
I can't do anything about that.
That is a beautiful and kind of disturbing worldview. Like, yeah.
I guess it's like the tube train strategy. Just don't make eye contact.
Exactly. That's when Jonny said, you can tell that it's staring at you. I'm like, Mosling isn't staring at this thing. Mosling is looking like dead ahead and like not making eye contact with this strange thing and fucking bookshelf. In the most British way possible, hopefully.
Thanks, Fight2. Fight2, that was a great question.
I also liked I liked this one.
We catch Sister Constance later on tearing out pages of the book and eating them.
I'm just thinking of name
What
of the
I'm
rose.
looking forward to is like in 2 years' time where we really can't work out who this evil necromancer wizard is who's summoning all these Vaesen. We're like, oh, it's going to be someone close to us, and we come across a suitcase of Constance's that's full of all of the darkest material that the society
Two
owns.
sides of one coin,
All
my
like
friend.
torn out.
Two
All of the
sides
most
one
dangerous
coin.
things, and we're like, the only explanation for Sister Constance having all this stuff is if she's the wizard. It's like,
I
no, I'm
love
just
it.
collecting the most dangerous things because I want to get them away from people. Like, no one would do that. That's insane. That's crazy. Like,
Lucifer was a fallen angel. Like,
Well, you planning on having
Oh.
backstabbing mechanics in this game, Johnny? They're coming.
so step one is I'm just taking all of the dark knowledge to protect other people from it. Step two, I'm just going to use some of it because I'm the only person who knows how to use it best. Step
It's
three,
best to know about
I
it.
get to
With
decide what
this.
is the right use of this knowledge.
Yeah.
This is that's the entire arc of the Dan Abnett Eisenhorn trilogy, which is excellent if anybody's read those. That's basically that.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have more
Spoilers.
homework for me then.
It's like, oh, I need to seal away this demon. Oh, hang on. The only way that I can beat this bad thing is using this demon. I'll just use this demon all the time for stuff.
Demons
Yeah.
are cool, but only for me.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad about that.
Any follows or anything, John?
Yeah, we've had quite a few since last time they were read out. So first of all, thank you to Ice and Cold 100, who followed us like right after a stream finished last week. So we didn't get to say thank you.
Thank you.
Other than that, thank you Ampersand D20, Mikey B Sit Frog Sit, Am Sexton, and Legitimine. I
Thank you.
really hope I have pronounced as many of those as possible correctly. If not, please feel free to leave me a comment either on Twitch or YouTube. Sorry.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you
comments
for
mean
the
interactions.
follows.
We love it.
Cool. I think we should be on next week. So, but before then, there is Simba Room on Wednesday and the Dungeon World one shot on Saturday. And you should watch the first Dungeon World on YouTube if you haven't, or maybe even if you have, before that happens. But we as a group will see you next Monday. Thanks, everyone.